everyone. Thank you for the warm welcome. I really did not expect so many people to show up, so this is a very pleasant surprise. Let me introduce myself. My name is Bach Nguyen, and I'm the community manager of SatoshiLabs, and this is my colleague Vojtěch Černý, and he's a junior marketing specialist of our company. I'm going to start a little bit by talking about the company first, and then we'll go on to the topic of Trezor. So, many of you might know Trezor, but SatoshiLabs, the fact that SatoshiLabs is the one company behind the Trezor is not very much known. And so I want to introduce it a little bit, including our other projects. We are a group of enthusiasts, not intellectuals, I wish I could just say intellectuals, but programmers and just fans of cryptography, cryptocurrency, and all the things that's related. And our mission is to make our technology available to the general public, everyone around. So, yeah. One of our first projects is Slush Pool. It was invented as the world's first mining pool and the only one of the first generation mining pools that's still running. It opened in 2010 and it's mining since. Up to date, we've mined more than 1 million bitcoins. Which translated to today's value is more than $1.5 billion worth of bitcoins. It has a unique voting system. You can choose whether you support Bitcoin Core or Bitcoin Unlimited. Yeah. The next project that we have is CoinMap. It was introduced in 2013, and it's the map of all Bitcoin accepting venues. It's crowdsourced, so you can choose to list your shop organization there. And yeah, you can see that by today there's been already more than 9,000 venues registered. Our company has also done many contributions to the Bitcoin environment, Bitcoin community, starting with the name Bitcoin Pool and its tracking protocol, which is today the only the main protocol used for mining pools. We've also co-authored several Bitcoin improvement proposals, including the BIP39 mnemonic code for generating deterministic keys for wallets. These are the words that serve as a recovery seed. And the Bitcoin 44, the hierarchy of the multi-account wallets, and including our own SatoshiLabs improvement protocol, which lists the derivation paths for all coin types. This protocol is used by many software wallets as well as hardware wallets to determine the derivation path. But let's talk about Trezor. This is the reason why you guys came today. I don't want to bore you with our other projects. So let's start with the question, what is actually a Trezor? There's a simple question to answer. It's a hardware wallet, right? But really, this doesn't tell you anything often. So let's translate it into better language. A hardware wallet is basically an easily spendable, is this mic working? It's basically an easily spendable cold wallet. What does this mean? It means that when you plug it in, it works. As a warm wallet, when it's unplugged, it's a cold wallet that nobody can touch, nobody can spend from, meaning it's completely safe when it's separated from the computer. Its purpose is to isolate and protect private keys. The mic is falling out, so can I just speak normally and can you hear me well? As I said, its main purpose is to isolate and protect your private keys. The private keys are stored exclusively on the Trezor. Whenever you use it, all the computations using the private key are done exclusively on the Trezor, meaning that the computer that it's attached to does not know the key. The Trezor also features display on which you should confirm all the transaction details, including the transaction address and transaction value. This is so you don't need to trust the computer. You only trust the device that you own. As I said before, it works only if it's plugged in. It does not feature a battery. This is a design. This is an intentional design because you don't want to have something happening in your background when you're not using it. It can only work if you plug it in and authenticate yourself with your PIN. And this is related to the previous point, it has a limited communications channel. There's no Wi-Fi, there's no Bluetooth through which malicious acts can happen in the background. It only works through USB. And what I like to say about Trezor is there's no sacrifice to your convenience. You can plug into your computer and use it with your computer. You can also plug it with your Android phone and use an Android as the front end for your Bitcoin transactions. Now that I hope that you know a little bit more about Trezor, I want to say a little bit about why do you need a Trezor? Why do you need a hardware wallet and not, say, a software wallet or a paper wallet? Well, a paper wallet has the benefits that it is offline and it is isolated too. The keys are on the paper. There's nothing, you don't need to trust anybody else than the paper itself. The negatives of a paper wallet is that it's difficult to spend from. Firstly, you need to trust the portal, the machine that you're using, that it will not steal your keys, and you have to trust it that it's going to send the transaction to the right address that you're telling it to. Second of all, there's no physical protection for a paper wallet. Anybody that can get to a paper wallet can use it. There's no PIN, there's no password. The only way you can save it is to put it away into a safe place. Compared to online exchange wallets, the positive of them are that you can change between separate currencies easily. You can change from USD to Bitcoin, from Bitcoin to Ethereum, without any waiting times, without any transaction delays. The negatives of this is very related. It means that you don't actually own those Bitcoins that you put on those exchanges. You are trusting the exchange that it will give you your Bitcoins back whenever you ask for it. You're trusting that they have enough money to pay you if you ask for it tomorrow or today that you need them. This also means that your Bitcoins, your money is subject to exchange availability. It means that the exchange cannot just close down, which is happening today. The exchanges go offline, exchanges face DDoS attacks, exchanges face problems with withdrawing money, with sending money through normal bank systems, which means that you can only hope that eventually they will pay you out your money. And exchanges are also a very good centralized hacking target. They store a lot of money, and most of hacking, or if not all the hacking cases in the Bitcoin world, target specifically exchanges. And then we have the most available wallets, which you probably have on your phones right now, which is a software wallet. The positive of them is they're convenient. You own the keys, so you have all the maximum ownership of them. But on the other hand, software wallets are also targets of software hacks. They are targets of bugs. A virus can attack your phone as well as it might attack your computer. A virus or a malware can steal your keys from the computer and then spend your coins, steal your coins through that. If we can learn anything from the recent ransomware case, the ransomware can also encrypt your computer and demand money from you in order for you to get access to your wallet again. Trezor mitigates all of these negatives and mainly features the positives of those wallets that I've mentioned just now. There's a physical protection for Trezor, which means you have to enter the PIN before you can use it, and additionally a passphrase. A PIN is something similar that you have with your credit cards or debit cards, so you're pretty much familiar with that. And also, if you lose your Trezor or your Trezor breaks, then you can always get another Trezor, or you can always use the recovery seed that you had when you first used your Trezor with any of the compatible wallets. This also, I have to reiterate that anybody with access to a recovery seed will have access to your coins. Therefore, this backup is basically a paper wallet that you have to store away and that you only use when you need to recover your Trezor. One of the most common questions that we have is, can Trezor be used on a computer with malware? Can it be used with with a computer that is ridden with viruses? And the answer is absolutely yes. This is the reason why you isolate your private keys to a different separate device. Let's consider these three scenarios. A malware sends fake Bitcoin address into Trezor. So you enter address, and the address that shows up on and the address that the computer sends to your Trezor is different. That is no problem. You can verify the two addresses on the Trezor display and on Trezor computer. And if you are still unsure, you can verify the address on the Trezor display with another channel, like on your phone or your tablet. With this, you are only after confirming this, you should send your large transactions. Malware listens. What happens if the malware listens to the recovery words when you recover your Trezor on your computer? The recovery process is run in a very random order, and even if it listens to all of your 24 words, there are still 24 factorial combinations possible. This is a very large number, 6.2 to the power of 10, times 10 to the power of 23 possible orderings. And we also have a new recovery method, which is called the advanced recovery, which completely skips this writing down of the words on your computer. Instead, you enter it on a specialized anonymized pin pad. The details we'll go through in the workshop after the break. What happens if the malware updates the device, the Trezor, with evil firmware that steals your private keys, your seed? This is not an issue because Trezor will wipe the device if the signature of the firmware is not the one that SatoshiLabs signed. And it will display the warning at the boot of the device so that you know that your Trezor is not running the official firmware. So this begs the question, am I absolutely safe if I have a Trezor? Yes, but there are always, as with all security devices, there are always some precautions that you have to take and you should make. Write down your recovery seed at the initialization of the device and store it away safely into I probably wouldn't put it under my bed. I probably would not put it on the table, in a book, and in a wallet. Put it, I don't know. I don't want to reveal my place where I put my recovery seed. So, yeah. And do not reveal your PIN to anyone. This is the same as you wouldn't reveal your PIN of your debit card to anyone that you don't want accessing your bank account. And optionally, do not reveal your passphrase. Again, the recovery seed is the key to your Bitcoins, even without the Trezor. The Trezor is only the device that makes spending out of with the recovery seed easier. So far, I've been talking about Trezor as a Bitcoin wallet, but this is a common misconception that Trezor is only a Bitcoin wallet. It is actually a multi-currency wallet. It supports the leading cryptocurrencies that are on the market right now, including Ethereum, Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Namecoin, Dash, Dogecoin, and Zcash, and as well as the Ethereum 20 tokens. Most of the coins can be spent from a Trezor wallet. Other coins can be spent using third-party integrations. So let's talk about Trezor Wallet, the web interface for your Trezor. This is what you will see when you navigate to wallet.trezor.io. It will ask you to either install the software that you need to communicate with Trezor, or just plug your Trezor in. Trezor Wallet cannot be used without the Trezor. Notice that our wallet has been translated into Ukrainian and Russian too, even though there are some missing translations due to the last updates. If there's anyone that would like to help us with translations, we would welcome such help. This is how the wallet looks after the last redesign. You have all the most important information appears right on top, with the transaction history coming up next. On the left, you can see the number of accounts for one currency. For one Trezor, you can have up to 10 accounts. Yeah. Trezor Wallet is the program that primarily it communicates with Trezor. Trezor, it sends Trezor transactions that are supposed to be signed, and Trezor signs it and sends it back to the web interface, and then that web interface sends it in, broadcasts it, so that the transaction can be mined by miners and added into the blockchain. What Trezor Wallet does not do is that it does not hold the private keys to your account. Only Trezor holds those private keys. It does not sign the transactions. Only Trezor signs the transactions and then sends it back to the interface. And as I said, it cannot be used without Trezor. Using Trezor Wallet, you can interact with these 4 currencies: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dash, and Zcash. I know that I've said there are more currencies supported. Those are supported in the firmware and can be used with third-party applications connected with Trezor Connect, which is our open source API for all integrators. The most practical integration for normal users is the integration with my Ether wallet, which is, I realized a few days ago, translated into Russian. How does this work? You plug in Trezor in, you navigate to either send ethers or view my wallet, and then plug in the Trezor, choose Trezor, and my Ether wallet is going to ask the Trezor to export a public account, the master public account, public key. With this, it gets access to your addresses that you own, and it can look up in the blockchain how many ethers do you actually have. After this, you can use the ethers, you can send the ethers to whomever you want to. The transaction details are going to be sent back to Trezor, and the Trezor has to sign the transaction before it is transferred back to my Ether wallet and broadcasted to the network. The same way Trezor wallet works. But Trezor is not only limited to cryptocurrency. You can use it for the general security of your internet accounts too. Trezor can serve as your U2F token. U2F is the universal second factor, which is the more secure method of two-factor authentication. You basically log in with your username, with your password, and then you have to plug your Trezor in order to finish the login process. That's how it looks when you try to log in on GitHub with U2F enabled. We also have the Trezor Password Manager, which is the only password manager in the world right now that does not use a master password to encrypt your password entries. Instead, it uses hierarchical deterministic keys to save and encrypt every single password by its own, so that when you decrypt your account, decrypt your password manager, not all the passwords will be decrypted, but only the ones that you are using. And you have to confirm this decryption process on your Trezor device. This is, on the right, you can see how the password manager looks like. It's a beta version, so there are some functions that are missing, but we are working on improving it. And as I previously said, you can use Trezor on the go, Trezor on Android, with the Android device. There's a Trezor Manager application which lets you manage the Trezor device without the computer. And you can use Trezor with Mycelium as the front end for spending out of Trezor while you are on your way. I guess this is everything from me for now. Thank you for your attention, and I'm open to all questions that you might have in the next. How much time do we have for questions?
Okay. My question is about 2 months ago for Mycelium. Is it all software or it is equipped to hardware? I mean Android application. So is it months ago is it application or still be a gateway to Android device or Trezor device?
You mean if the Mycelium app is the application to Trezor?
Yes.
It is yes, you can use Mycelium to access the same way as it works with Trezor Wallet. The Trezor sends the public keys and the addresses that it owns to Mycelium, and Mycelium looks up the balance on those accounts and shows it to you.
Okay. So it is not my question. My question was: is it Trezor device required, needed to work with Android, or it is only Trezor application?
Mycelium works with any, even without Trezor. It's a standalone application, and it's actually not developed by us.
If you need to connect Trezor device to Android smartphone, which cable you need? Like a standard micro USB?
The phone needs to support a micro OTG on USB on the go. So you plug in a micro USB to your phone, which has an ending of a normal USB-A, and then you can use a normal micro USB-A to Trezor.
Okay, sense.
I want to ask you about Trezor source. I mean, as I understand, the Trezor is closed source hardware and software, and then we need to trust SatoshiLabs to use it, because we can create exploit in your device, and we cannot verify it.
Yes, I did not mention this in the presentation because this was more about the device, but Trezor hardware source, Trezor software source, and Trezor bootloader source is all open source, and you can browse it on GitHub. It's been open source ever since the device was invented, and all the developments, you can actually see them online. We have two main repositories, SatoshiLabs and Trezor. So if you go to github.com/SatoshiLabs or github.com/Trezor, you can see all the comments and firmware development.
Which cryptocurrencies you plan to add to Trezor? I mean, which new cryptocurrencies except those that you have?
Well, there are two. This is a little bit more complicated answer. First of all, we are open to new cryptocurrencies to add their support into Trezor, but we do not have the manpower as of this moment because we are working on the next generation Trezor, the Trezor 2. So we ask the cryptocurrencies, the developers of those cryptocurrencies, to fork the open source repository and add their support into our code, and then we will review the code, we will see if it's working effectively, and then we can add it into our framework.
There was an issue with sidechain attack in early firmware versions. So my question is, are we safe now against the sidechain attack, and what other dangerous attack vectors should we face and should we expect? What's your advice?
The sidechain attack, I think you are mentioning the oscillator.
That's right.
Yeah. That was actually discovered by Nguyen, a security researcher at a German university. And since he discovered it, we fixed this problem, obviously, immediately, and we hired him to do security verifications of the device. Of course, so as of the moment, there are no known attack vectors, and we work hard on discovering them before they even come out. As for the other attack vectors, I've listed the 3 points in my presentation, and those are the ones that the users have to be aware of.
Cool. Thanks.
The first one concerning the competitors. For example, Ledger. What do you think of your competitors? Is it worse to, are they the same or not? And please elaborate on it. And the second question concerning the civil war in Bitcoin community regarding this potential fork, Bitcoin Unlimited versus what is your position about it?
Thank you. For our competitors, I think personally that the more competitors on the market, the better, because competition fosters innovation. As for the concrete competitors, as a company, I do not like to comment on them because No, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't say anything about our competitors. For the Civil War, we published an article on our blog, I think last month, what would happen if a fork happens, if a fork occurs, if the coin splits into Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Unlimited. Our solution is we would support both coins. It would be listed in the Trezor wallet as Bitcoin Core and Bitcoin Unlimited. The company itself is neutral because the Trezor itself is agnostic. It does not believe which one is the right coin, if you want to say it. And our employees might have their own personal opinions. So that's their private opinions. But the company itself is neutral in this matter.
And you're basically only hungry for information. Just to sum up, we would like to divide your group to...
I said it.
You said it already. So, perfect. So, for those of you who don't have much experience with our device or our wallet, we decided to create a small workshop. So, feel free to take off your laptops, your Trezor devices, if you have them, or if you already purchased them, and we can together walk through the short tutorial and a short workshop. For those of you who are much interested in technical stuff, or in blockchain stuff, or sales marketing things, so please, you are welcome with the Bach, and he will answer your questions. So, forgive me, I won't be standing all the time. I'll just sit down and click on the laptop and show you what wallet and all the basic advanced features. So let's go. First thing you want to know, Trezor is meant as a device. This one over here, for you who didn't see it already, it's just a small USB device. Of course, this device needs to be connected to a computer or mobile phone, and we do that through a USB interface, and that interface needs to be supported by a small piece of software developed by us. Like Bach already mentioned, this software is open source, so you can either check on the GitHub is everything alright if you agree with all things. Or you can build it yourself if you're a developer. You can go online on the GitHub and build it for yourself. So this is just a few more steps you want to do for installing the piece of software. It's either a binary, which is called Trezor Bridge, or it's a small Chrome extension. So for those of you who would like to. This is the light wallet, as we call it, wallet Trezor.io. As you can see, as already Bach told you, it was recently translated to Russian and Ukrainian as well. By default, it works in English. It should be a problem. As you can see, there are accounts, and there's a switch when you can switch between the wallets, between the Bitcoin wallet and Litecoin wallet and the Dash wallet, etc. All the transactions, incoming or outgoing, are over here, and we recently added some graphical design over there as well, so you can check your balance more graphically. To carry on a little bit further, the first initialization is basically the most important step in the Trezor lifecycle. Only for one thing, the Trezor generates for you, when you connect it for the first time, the Trezor generates for you 24-word seed, or recovery seed as we call it, which represents your private keys, your public keys, and your transaction history. But most importantly, the private keys. These 24 words are generated, and basically very crucial for you to store them in an offline manner. It's not really safe to put them online to a cloud, maybe take a picture of that and send it to a cloud. It's definitely a no-go, because whoever has your recovery seed, those 24 words, basically has access to your wallets, to your phones. So to know, and if there's one information you guys understand at this meetup, so you need to understand that this recovery need to be stored offline, and it's basically the gateway to your account. So if I go further, always store your seed line. Just to sum up, there's a small recovery seed in the package. For those of you who already purchased that, you maybe noticed this small paper card, and that's a perfectly good use case for writing down those 24-word seeds. So, never online. Just a small heads up, there's this thing called CryptoSteel as well. We sell it on our A-shop. It looks like this. It's basically, it's not a device, it's not powered by electricity. It's just a piece of steel developed by our friends from Poland. And you basically have those small iron letters and those small Ks when you put those 24 words inside. And I think it's really obvious the reason why it's much more safe than a paper. You can maybe the house can be burned down. There might be flooding. There might be corrosion. Basically, it's pretty easy to store your seed, even if there's fire or something. It's definitely water resistant. It's steel, so it's much more than paper. To be more visual, let's go with the pin code. Pin code protects your device. It's a first level of security, and it's always linked with the device, associated with a physical device. So if you connect your Trezor to the laptop, it basically requires you to add a pin. You don't have to put a pin, but it's definitely like with a credit card. So this pin is custom. You are the one who's responsible for the pin, and it could be from 1 to 8 characters, I guess. It's not related to recovery seed, but I'm going to talk about this later. So let's do a little demonstration on the laptop. Just a second. There's a pretty neat system we developed in the SatoshiLabs, and it basically a lot of you were asking about malware or keyloggers, and this is basically the system which we developed as the protection against keyloggers. I'm gonna show you a short video, maybe right now. As you see here, this is the screen what you're gonna see in a wallet, right? And this is the screen of your physical device. So to avoid keyloggers or any different malware which could track you, which could track your PIN or copy your PIN, we basically come up with this solution. So let's say your PIN will be 1, 2, 3, 4. To be more visual here, but please don't use 1, 2, 3, 4 as a PIN. It's not really safe, obviously. But never mind. We're gonna use 1, 2, 3, 4, and basically it goes like this. Over there's a number 1, and the Trezor scramble the pin matrix all the time if you connect it. So when you connect the device for a second time, the numbers will be shuffled again. So to put your pin in, you need to be sure that you can see the device. If you see the device, there's a hint when you use numbers and click it over here. So if the pin is 1, 2, 3, 4, you basically need to press this button over there, this button over there, this one, and this one as well. I hope it's understandable. When you do it for a second time, because you need to put it in for first time, you need to put it in twice. You can see there's the video. Oh, there we go. Let's see the numbers shuffle again. So to put the same pin for a second time, you need to click a different set of tiles. The pin is still 1, 2, 3, 4, so you need to click this tile over here, this one, 3, and 4. That's about it. Let's do it again with our device, which is SatoshiLabs right now. So at the moment, I'm gonna put just one number to be faster, not bore you guys to death. 1 and 1 again. And there we go. Recorder is setting up again. So I'm just gonna hit presentation again. And basically, we are back at the recovery seat, which is your 24 words. And the treasure is initialized for the first time. Those words are again shown on a treasure display. As you can see here, it's basically the same thing as with a pin code. You don't want to put your words into the computer, and you want your computer to operate with words at all in case there is a malware or a keylogger. So all of the words generated for the first time, all of the words are only shown on the display. I'm afraid I can't show you that. Just so you can see. As you can see here, all of the words are only on display, and basically the only thing you want to do right now is to write them down. It's just the safest way how to do it. So we're going to go through the 24 words, and you need to write them down, and for a second time as well. As you can see, 24 words. And there we go, we are all set. Pin again, which was 1 if you remember. And we are straight in the wallet. The wallet should be clean right now because it's generated the clean seed with private keys and no bitcoins on them. The second thing what I would like you guys know is recovery. We already talked about the 24 seeds, 24 words of the seed, and there are 2 things which you can do with a clean white treasure. You can generate 24 seeds. That's what we did right now, and you can do a recovery, which means that in case of losing your device or maybe forgetting the PIN, we are all people and we are gods, so you can forget your PIN. But basically, in case of losing your device, you can take your 24 words again and put them in a new device which you already bought, or definitely in any other third-party wallet which supports the given standard. So basically the use case is you generate your treasure, you put your bitcoins into it, and you already have your 24 words. Bitcoin treasure is stolen or maybe malfunction, maybe you stepped on it unintentionally, and you need the second one to access your funds again, obviously. So you put the second one, and you recover your 24 words into the new treasure. And that gives you access to all your private keys, all your addresses, all your accounts, and even the transaction history.
So if I have a seed for treasure 1,
yeah,
will it be functional for treasure 2?
Definitely, yeah, of course. Sorry. It will definitely function for Trezor 2 as well as a third-party wallet. As you probably know, there are wallets like Electrum or Mycelium. A lot of them are supporting the standard, which is called BIP42, which basically means that you can have the 24 words and put them in a third-party wallet as well. So you have two options there. You can put it in a different wallet and get your accounts as well, or you can put it in Trezor. It's your choice. Never mind. The recovery is also supports 12 per words or 18 per words. It's basically the same. You don't have to worry. It's the same like 24 words, but I think Mycelium generates 12 words, but it's a different representation of your private keys. It's everything that. And that's it. I hope it's understandable. Recovery looks like this, basically. It's a Trezor wallet. So if you don't want to generate new sorts of keys and you want to recover your words, right here, you just select 24 words and hit continue, and that's it. That's the safest way you can get it. In this manner, you'll be having access again with your bitcoins. So it will be really silly to not be able to recover your bitcoins and your private keys and your transactions. There's also a thing called advanced recovery, which our developers developed, I suppose, a month ago, and it's actually even safer because again, all of the words are only represented, are only put in through the screen, through the Trezor screen, through the device screen. So your computer doesn't even cooperate with the C. I can say third-party compatibility. Those Bitcoin implement protocols are worldwide supported by most of the hardware and the software wallets, for example, Mycelium Electrum as well. So if your Trezor breaks down and you don't have access to a new one, you can use Electrum, Mycelium, or Copay, or any other HD hierarchical deterministic wallet to recover your funds, which is pretty neat because there are times when you can access new wallets, can buy new wallets. So and you need your bitcoins to spend them like right now. So you just download the Electrum, which is not developed by us, it's developed by a third party, but we do have a common standard together for cooperation. So you can use that and recover your 24 words into that. Basically this situation right now is like in our FAQ, it's like most common question what people ask us, and that's the same thing. You don't need to use our wallet.trezor.io, and in case we shut down, which we don't want to, we don't plan to, but in case we shut down, you can basically have your Trezor or your C and connect it to a third-party wallet, which is basically great for everyone. That's it, I already covered. Seed vulnerability. Like I already said, anyone who has your seed has access to your Bitcoin, so you need to be exactly sure you are storing it in a safe manner. I've been working in the tech support for quite a long time, and there are a lot of situations that people weren't exactly cautious about their seed, and they store it, I don't know, on the table for a couple of months, and then the cleaning lady come in and take the seed and throw it away because she was never of the situation, she was never of what that is. So you need to take the seed and store it very carefully, because if you need it one time, if your device breaks down and you don't have access to your seed, you're basically screwed. Your bitcoins are gone forever. That goes with the situation when you forgot your PIN as well, because as we mentioned earlier, the PIN is related to a device, but the seed is related to a network. So if you forget your PIN, it's really easy. You just wipe your Trezor clean, recover from the 24 words, and just set up a new PIN. That's it. There's one more thing, which is, let's say, advanced feature. We call it an extra layer of security. And it's really important for you to understand how it works, because you can actually imagine if it's the 25th word of your seed. Basically your Trezor generates 24 words, as we already covered, but you can add your custom 25th word, which is passphrase, basically, as you know it. But this extra word, it can be up to, I don't know, 50 characters if you like. But basically, you want like a simple passphrase which is easily to memorize. And this 25th word works as a protection for, let's say, let's do a use case again. your seed is stolen, and everyone who has access to the seed has access to your bitcoins, right? So they just buy a Trezor or recover it to Electrum, and you're screwed. You don't have any bitcoins left. But if you use passphrase in the first place, anyone who has access to your 24 words can recover your funds because they are protected by the additional 25th word. It's associated with the recovery scheme. Long story short, those 24 words are just a different representation of the hexadecimal string, which are your private keys. So if you put the 25th word, one extra word to your seed, it basically generates a totally different wallet. It generates a totally different set of amounts, totally different set of addresses. So you're safe. You're safe from the thieves at the moment. And if you add the extra word, you just got the access to completely different wallets, a completely different set of accounts. So this one is let's say ultimate security, but you need to be cautious about one thing. If this passphrase is also lost, you might be in trouble because how the passphrases work, you can recover from 24 seeds, but if you lose access to your 25th word, you basically screwed again. That's how it works. So it cuts both ways. It prevents potential thieves from stealing your bitcoins. But if you lose access to your passphrase, if you forget it, for example, or if you put it on a piece of paper and it burns, or it's lost during the moving or whatever, or your wife throws it out, which is the actual story that happened, you're losing access to your bitcoins again. So you need to be exactly cautious about this one. It's not relied to physical device. Once again, the PIN is relied to your Trezor, to your device, and the passphrase is related to the seed. The last thing which I would like to mention is updating of firmware. Firmware is basically a neat piece of software which allows your operating system to communicate through the USB device, through the USB interface to the USB device. It's released let's say every 3, every 2, every 4 months, depending on the situation. If you want to add more altcoins, so we're releasing new firmware. If you want to do a hotfix, we're releasing new firmware. So basically, one day you will log in the wallet and you'll see the small text firmware is updated. Now firmware needs to be updated. It's not mandatory, but as we all know, it's best thing for security is to stay updated. So you are 2 steps ahead from the potential hackers and stuff. So the firmware is this piece of software which is downloaded from our website, and it's always issued by us. You can be sure it's issued by the SatoshiLabs because it needs to be signed at least with 2 keys out of 3. We got 3 managers in SatoshiLabs, CEO, CTO, and one more manager who holds these keys. So it always needs to be signed with at least 2 out of 3. When it's signed, it's got a little fingerprint on it, and that fingerprint basically can be compared on our website or on the device if it's comparable. If the fingerprint is comparable, you're free to go and you can update. That's what I covered. And that's the last thing I want to add again. You need to be sure that you have access to your seed or passphrase if you're using it, which is not mandatory, before you're doing the firmware update. Because sometimes it could happen that there could be a power outage, let's say, or you can lose access to internet temporarily. So the firmware is not finishing, because of the power outage, let's say, and the device will wipe itself because the fingerprints are not comparing. And at the time, if you don't have access to your recovery seed, you basically don't have access to your Bitcoins. So this one is important. So one information for you, again, I'm gonna recapitulate that. Always be sure where your recovery seed is, and always make sure if you're using passphrase, it's either written down as well, but separated from the seed, but you need to be sure you have it like all the time. That's it, probably. I'm gonna hit you a few more useful links. This is our documentation, where you can find all the FAQ documentation and tutorials. This is the wallet, the front-end wallet which we use. This is the landing page where all the information is stored. These are our social media. We are on Reddit, we are on Twitter as well, we are on Facebook, and we have a technical blog which can be useful for you guys if you would like to get some more information about Trezor, about the recent security trends and stuff. These are the contacts. We've got pretty useful support if those devices which you already purchased today or any other day might be problematic. So feel free to contact us here or here. It's not a problem. This is our sales contact as well, and that's probably it. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions over there, yes.
So yes, about this passphrase again. So it goes together, like in pair with the rest of the seed, yeah? Or can it be used separately to restore your wallet without the seed? Say you lose your seeds, right? And then you have your passphrase. Can you restore your wallet?
No, basically
it goes together.
It goes together, exactly. The passphrase is seed related, which means if you have the seed and using the passphrase, if you have the seed only and don't have access to a passphrase, it doesn't work together. And if you have a passphrase and don't have the seed, it doesn't work either.
I got it, thanks.
Sure. Any other questions?
What happens when the data is wiped? You repeated that multiple times.
When the data is wiped?
Yes.
Yes. Basically, only thing that you store in your Trezor is private keys. That's the most important one. So if you wipe the device, you're basically wiping it clean, and all the data is lost from the device physically. But you still have your 24 words, which is the different representation of the private keys. There are you get 24 words, and through the mathematical operations, it derivates your private keys again in the device. So you're just putting in those 24 words for recovery, and you're safe again. It's basically the same as it were before the wiping. Sorry.
Do you lose previous coins? Or
No, never. Okay. All your coins, all your transaction history, it's still there. Basically, the seed represents all your coins. As you probably know, there are no bitcoins in the Bitcoin Trezor. They are the private keys, and you use those private keys to move actual coins in the blockchain, which is online. So that's it. That's it.